Economic advisor to CARICOM Secretary General believes that the global financial crisis could bring out some positives for Guyana and the Caribbean.
Another road accident, but this time a woman breaks both legs after the minibus she was in collided with a car at North Road and New Garden Street this morning.
And the Guyana Power and Light Company focuses on intermediate solutions to improve the delivery of services countrywide.
GD News, eye on the judiciary health, tips on the latest sporting action, and the Diamond Mineral Water and Sport News, and more after these. Good evening, I am Janelle Persaud.
And I'm Paul Moore.
With this edition of the 6 o'clock news for today, Tuesday, October 21, 2008. Paul.
Thanks, Janelle. Economic advisor to CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Maurice Odle believes that the global financial crisis could push local financial institutions to seriously invest at home. Citing this as a blessing in disguise, he also sees it as stemming the massive flow of capital flight by both individuals and financial institutions.
Dr. Maurice Odle was at the time making a presentation at a forum looking at the implications of the financial crisis for countries like Guyana. Moving away from the negatives, he delved into some benefits which he believes could abound for Guyana. He cited growth on the development of the region's capital market and sees the local financial institutions having no choice but to seriously invest locally.
That is the difficulty reflected in a fall in income of their foreign held assets. Might be that they may think more investing their assets locally, right? And this would be a tremendous spur to our capital market development. In the Caribbean, our capital market is very underdeveloped. And this crisis may be a blessing in disguise in the sense that we may take, institutional investors may take more seriously investing some of their funds locally or regionally.
Dr. Odle added that there is a massive flight of capital, not only among individuals but financial institutions, and also believes the crisis can stop this, bringing some positives to the economy.
You may find some of those people bringing home their funds or being perhaps a little more reluctant to place their funds abroad. And this goes not only for individuals, it goes for commercial establishments. We know that there's a certain unspoken flight of capital that takes place in this region. Right? If the central bank can tell me of some of these unrecorded flows. Right? And my feeling is these flows are as a result of persons quietly putting some of their funds outside of Guyana.
Commercial officer attached to the United States Embassy also looked past the negatives, pointing out the benefits for the local manufacturing sector.
Well, I think Guyana's small manufacturers could possibly stand to gain from this because large manufacturers in China, places that require large orders, you're just not going to see that coming from the United States as much anymore. But places like Guyana that have small manufacturers that can make things in small quantities to order really could stand to benefit from this.
Among other issues addressed at the forum were the impact on remittances, insurance companies, the banking sector, the non-financial sector, the local exchange rate, the price of commodities, and government responses.
The Guyana Power and Light Company is focusing on intermediate solutions to improve the delivery of services countrywide. According to Chief Executive Officer Bar Dindial, most of these interventions should get underway by next year. Here are details.
The Guyana Power and Light Company will be upgrading its facilities in a bid to improve services to customers. According to Chief Executive Officer Bar Dindial, this includes converting the 5-megawatt Canefield generator to heavy fuel oil operation with a capacity of 10 megawatts. Dindial has disclosed that the components of the $1.4 million generator will arrive by weekend. Government is also providing $1.9 million for the completion of a transmission link which will provide more power from the Skeldon plant.
Both of these projects we are hoping to be completed by the first quarter, early the second quarter of next year. So the situation is and hopefully will take a change for the better. And in fact, we are hoping that with these investments we will not return to the situation which now obtained.
The CEO says this will be a much more cost-effective alternative given high diesel prices.
The link between Berbice and Demerara would obviously provide Berbice with the capability of receiving power from Demerara, and of course the new plant and the capacity we have in Demerara. So this is going to further strengthen the Berbice system. And of course with the link between Demerara and Berbice and the advent of hydro, we would have the capability of delivering cheap and reliable power efficiently to Berbice.
Contracts for a 20.7 megawatt plant at Kingston have also been signed and commercial operation should begin by the middle of next year. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Charlotte.
A female passenger is now a patient at the Georgetown Public Hospital after the minibus she was in collided with a car at the corners of North Road and New Garden Street. 55-year-old Elizabeth Chappell of John Street, Camerville, broke both legs when the incident occurred around 7:15 this morning. Philip Smith, driver of motorcar HB 5762, explained that he was heading west along North Road and the minibus BHH 5369 south along New Garden Street. He noted that he was then hit by the bus NIC 5, which ended up in the drain in front of the Church of Our Lady of Fatima on New Garden Street. Smith lamented that when he exited his vehicle, the driver of the minibus, Shiv Paul Sanichar of 165 Industry Field, fled the scene and returned out later. The taxi driver believes that he is innocent since he was on the right-of-way and the minibus was out of zone. The remaining passengers received minor injuries and were treated at the Georgetown Public Hospital and sent away. Different economic situations in CARICOM member states is cited as the key factor affecting the effective working of the CARICOM single market and economy. This is according to Program Manager of the CARICOM Secretariat, CSME Unit, Ivor Carroll. Mr. Carroll says although the single market component of the CSME came into effect 2 years ago, there is still a disconnect that prevents effective functioning in its 12 member states. Here are details.
Program Manager of the CSME unit, Ivor Carroll, says the different systems in member states created a problem and there needed to be a code of rules available to the public. He made this comment at a media briefing to launch Component 100 of the CARICOM Trade and Competitiveness Project. Carroll says the region needs a common set of practices, forms and documents that simplify and reduce the multitude of procedures one has to comply with. The Trade and Competitive Project comes under the CIDA and focuses on the harmonization and standardization of administrative systems as well as practices and procedures to support the CSME. Carroll says this will enable some classes of CARICOM nationals who are not able to move freely and the large mass of CARICOM nationals to be more active participants. He, however, acknowledges that people in the region are not clear on how the CSME is organized, works on a daily basis, and how they can contribute to the decision-making process, and more so, how to take action when opportunity arises. Technical Services Officer Leslie Ann Edwards said the process should take no longer than 6 working weeks per country, and the next phase, Component 200, that's licensing and certification, is expected to be launched early next year. The overall process in the 12 member states, which also include Guyana, Barbados, Grenada, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago, should take 4 to 5 years to complete. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.